Are you struggling to get over your ex? Maybe it has to do with these common breakup myths that you often hear about. In today's video, I'll outline the 7 common types of breakup myths that can keep you stuck. Let's get started. This first one is an oldie. Time heals all wounds. This can be a comforting and reassuring statement for healing physical wounds, but not for invisible wounds such as an emotional loss. If this was true, then there shouldn't be any bitterness, anger, or resentment after a period of time, and we can get on with our lives when that time expires. But if you're watching this video, you know that it's not that simple. No matter how long something has passed, just a little reminder or trigger about your ex can set you off and bring up all the emotional hurt again. Even if you may say that it doesn't matter, or I'm over it, it might just be a form of denial, compartmentalization, or you're just numbing out the pain with drugs, sex, alcohol, exercise, shopping, or work. It's only when these things stop working that you start to feel the pain and emptiness inside again. This is because you cannot outrun the pain. It lives inside of you. All emotional pain is stored in your body and mind until it is processed and released. Time has nothing to do with it. It's what you do with the time that matters. The best way to get over any breakup is to go through it. There's no other way. Time cannot heal your heartbreak. Only you can. The second myth, the amount of pain is equal to the amount of love you have for your ex. This is a common misconception between pain and love because of the way humans are neurologically wired. In an article titled, "This is Your Brain on Heartbreak," fMRI results confirm that social rejection, such as heartbreak, and physical pain are rooted in exactly the same regions of the brain. Therefore, the amount of pain you're feeling during a breakup is really due to the biophysiological withdrawal symptoms of this absence of love, like a drug addict craving his fix, not how much you actually love your ex. This pain can be compounded by any unhealed trauma, especially around the fear of being alone, abandoned, or rejected. So it's time to bust this myth. You can't move on, not necessarily because you're still in love with him, but it's because you're unable to cope with or process all these painful thoughts and emotion. So the obsessive need to get your ex back may have more to do with you needing him to soothe your fear and anxiety, not because of true love. The third myth, it just takes willpower. Perhaps when you're tired of dealing with the pain, you decided to stop dwelling on the past by distracting yourself, keeping busy, acting as if you're over them, or getting into another relationship. While this strategy might work for a while, eventually it will fail. Getting over a breakup is not like training for a marathon, where toughing it out will get you to the finish line. It's also not about mental or emotional toughness that you can just fake it till you make it. Instead, it takes emotional vulnerability and the courage to confront your fears, go into your pain and hurt, sit with the discomfort, and feel all your emotions without getting lost in them. You cannot heal what you won't feel. This requires taking time out to grieve all your losses, not just the relationship or your ex, but any future hopes and dreams, loss of status or identity as a couple, a sense of community or family, and pieces of yourself that you have forgotten. Those who have successfully gotten over their exes know how to take this opportunity to grieve and learn from their mistakes, so they can make better choices in the future. Number 4, it takes half the time you were together to get over them. Sorry, but this is as true as saying that time heals all wounds. It might sound reassuring that there is an end to this pain, but human relationships are complex, and putting an arbitrary time on grieving may hurt more than help. What happens if it's taken you years to get over a short-term relationship? Are you a failure then? What about if you were able to move on within weeks of a long-term relationship? Are you a heartless person then? So let's remove this myth and and look at the real factors that hinder your ability to move on. It has to do with how emotionally significant or meaningful the relationship or the person was to you. Plus, any unresolved feelings you have about your ex, both positive and negative. Plus, the inability or ability to cope with the loss. So allow yourself as much time and space you need to grieve your relationship, instead of using this false timeline as a guide. Myth number 5. I'm over them when I don't have any more feelings for that person. This is not necessarily true. You could be temporarily numbing or suppressing your emotions in order to function and not get overwhelmed by the pain. The opposite of love is not hate or lack of feelings, but indifference. That is, you're no longer interested in who your ex is, who he's with, or what he does with his life. You know that he exists and acknowledge your past together, but his actions don't trigger the same emotions or reaction as they once did in you. I will elaborate on this further in a separate video. For now, just allow yourself to feel whatever you need to feel, including not have any more feelings for them. This is a normal part of the grieving process. Myth number 6. It's impossible. Perhaps you've tried everything and just can't imagine yourself being with anyone else, or thinking that he's your soulmate, or only he can make you happy. While such despairing thoughts are common, they're still a myth. First, make sure that you didn't fall victim into believing in the other previous myth, especially number 2, where you misassociate love with pain and suffering. Usually, when we don't have love, we hang on to pain because it gives us a false closeness to that person. This keeps us emotionally safe to daydream about the ex, to remember the good time together, keeping their ideal image versus having to look at the reality of the relationship, confronting the ex's flaws and your own shortcomings. There may also be fears of moving on, starting over, or taking accountability for your own happiness. So maybe you should start by being honest with yourself about why you would want to hang on to this myth. Number 7. I need closure to move on. Closure. This one's my favorite. I used to tell myself this over and over again to justify my pain and anger, but really, I was struggling to accept reality. Nothing makes any sense after the breakup. I felt confused, hurt, and betrayed by the person who I thought loved me. I naively thought that if I can just get my ex to listen to my pain, or explain to me what went wrong, then I can fix it and we can go back to being happy again. After a year of suffering, I finally gave up my search for closure, because no answer would ever be good enough to justify the amount of pain, heartache, and anger I was experiencing. At this point, my stubbornness and refusal to let go was keeping me in pain, not my ex. What was torn was torn. What was broken was broken. In the end, it was better for me to close this chapter on my own, even when I didn't get the answer I wanted. Accepting closure didn't mean that the relationship failed or that I was a failure, but rather finding peace within myself to move on. So you really don't need your ex to give you closure. The answer and strength that you need to move on are already inside of you, waiting for you to discover them. So stop looking outside to your ex to save you and start looking inside for your own salvation. I hope busting these myths have given you more clarity and confidence in your recovery journey. If you need more help, please check out my online program and coaching services for more information. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.